The Russian phrase "оглядываясь вокруг" literally translates to looking around or glancing around in English. Оглядываясь, gerund of оглядываться, meaning to look back, to glance around. Вокруг, around, surrounding area. So in context, it usually describes someone observing their surroundings, often carefully or cautiously, like "Он шел по улице, оглядываясь вокруг." He walked down the street looking around, cautiously. If you want, the phrase "И цвет местности совсем другой" is Russian and literally translates to "and the color of the landscape is completely different," or more naturally in English, "and the landscape looks completely different." E equals and, цвет color, местности of the area, landscape, terrain. Совсем другой, completely different. It's usually used to describe a change in scenery, lighting, or appearance of a place. If you want, I can also explain the nuance of совсем другой and why it's stronger than just different. The phrase "чем он казался из космоса" is in Russian. Literally, it translates to open quote, as if it appeared from space, or as it seemed from space. Close quote. Breaking it down. Чем, in this context, it can be part of a comparative or descriptive structure, often translating to as or like. Он казался, it seemed or he seemed, depending on context. Он can refer to masculine nouns or it in poetic literary usage. Из космоса, from space. So, the sentence conveys the idea that something, a person, object, or scene, looked so unusual, strange, or otherworldly that it seemed like it came from outer space. If you want, I can give a more natural English rendering that would sound like how a native. The Russian phrase "почему все кругом желтое" translates to "why is everything around yellow" in English. Почему? Why? Все, everything, all. Кругом, around, all around. Желтое, yellow, neuter form, matching everything. It's a simple question, though the context could be literal, asking why everything appears yellow, or metaphorical, poetic. If you want, I can explain why желтое is in that form. It has to do with Russian grammar. Do you want me to? The phrase "когда мы вели наблюдение с UNETA" is Russian and translates literally to "when we were observing from UNET," or "when we conducted observation from UNET," depending on context. Breaking it down. Когда equals when equals we. Вели наблюдение equals we're conducting observation. We're observing. С equals from, indicating location or source. UNETA, UNET, likely a proper noun, maybe a place, station, or person's name in context. The sentence is incomplete. It ends with a comma suggesting more follows. If you want, the Russian sentence "Эта планета излучала тускло-голубой свет" translates to English as "this planet emitted a dim blue light." Эта планета, this planet, излучала, emitted or radiated, past tense feminine, тускло-голубой свет, dim blue light. Тускло, dim, голубой, blue, свет, light. It describes a planet shining faintly with a bluish glow. If you want, I can also explain the nuance of тускло-голубой, which is a bit more descriptive than just light blue. The Russian phrase "может быть таково воздействие атмосферы" translates to "maybe this is the effect of the atmosphere," or "perhaps this is how the atmosphere affects things." Breaking it down. Может быть, maybe, perhaps. Таково, such, this is how it is. Воздействие, effect, influence, атмосферы, of the atmosphere. It's essentially someone speculating that a certain situation, feeling, or phenomenon might be caused by atmospheric conditions. If you want, I can explain the subtle. The Russian phrase "если вся поверхность суши желтая" translates literally to "if the entire surface of the land is yellow." Если equals if, вся поверхность equals the entire surface, суши equals of the land, or land surface, желтая is yellow. It sounds like the beginning of a conditional statement, like it's setting up a scenario to describe what would happen if all land were yellow. The phrase "то предположение Река окажется правильным," broken down, то then, предположение, assumption or hypothesis. Reka of Rek, a person's name in genitive case. Окажется, will turn out to be, will prove to be. Правильным, correct, right. So the full sentence means, then Rex's assumption will turn out to be correct. If you want, I can also explain the nuance of окажется, since it's a bit more subtle than just is correct. The Russian sentence «В таком случае приемлемую для унитян планету придется искать возле других звезд» translates to English as, in that case, a planet suitable for the Unitians would have to be searched for near other stars. Breaking it down. В таком случае, in that case, приемлемую для унитян планет, a planet suitable for the Unitians, придется искать, will have to be searched for, will have to look for, возле других звезд, near other stars. It seems to be from a science fiction context, talking about finding a habitable planet for a species called the Unetians. If you want,